That's nothing. That's like nothing anymore. If they
Well, it's
sold
not
a,
just like now you have to install all your games. I mean, I used to install all
that's
my games
true.
anyway, but you have to now.
Yeah,
It
there's no
sucks
choice.
because
Like
I
you
have
have
a
to.
library of discs that are unplayable because if I put them in my system, it won't do anything.
Yeah, yeah,
I just have to get the external hooked up.
yeah. It doesn't. It took me like 5 minutes to do it. It's like format it and then plug it in and.
It has a bunch of Xbox stuff on it. That's the sad thing.
Oh no! Are you
Use
gonna
it
lose
forever.
anything important?
Yeah, but the problem is that when my old Xbox died, the terabyte was plugged into it. So when I plug this one into my new Xbox, it doesn't even like I have to format it anyway.
Oh.
I've just been putting off formatting it because it's like point of no return.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the official. It's over now. Like I've
It's
lost that
actually over.
data. Yeah. No, I have a buddy who downloaded that God, what was it called? PT or something. It was like that Silent Hill project or
Oh yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
was coming out and it had an error while it was loading. So it's just stuck loading. So if even if he goes back
Oh,
to
you
it, it
can never
just looks
do it.
so but the game got, canceled. So there's like he's just like hoping one day like he'll come and it'll load up, but like he refuses to delete it. Like, dude,
It's
it's
like me
not
with
gonna do.
StarCraft Ghost. StarCraft Ghost got like announced for GameCube, and I pre-ordered it that day in like 2002. And then it got pushed like 15 years through different content
Oh
generations.
my
It still
god.
hadn't paid off, and then it got canceled. It's like no. The guy's like,
One day it'll
"You're
come
really mad." I
back
said,
and
"I don't
you'll
even
be
want it.
good.
I just want StarCraft Ghost, man. Don't even give me my money. Just give me
That's
the game."
right, exactly. One day they'll announce a StarCraft and you'll have it already pre-ordered. You'll be good. All right, we're broadcasting, by the way.
Oh, cool.
So I'm gonna go ahead and hi everybody. By the way, we're broadcasting. Thanks for joining in. I talked to a couple people today via Facebook, and we may have some new people checking in who have been not necessarily ignoring the fact that we have this podcast slash Let's Play, but they've let it go, and now they're
Yeah, yeah.
starting
I
to
went to a work
understand that
meeting
we're pretty
Monday,
awesome.
and we had to like do an icebreaker where we talked about ourselves. I was
Mm.
like, yeah, whatever, blah blah blah. And someone said, you didn't even say my favorite thing about you. My favorite thing about Adam is that a Star Wars podcast thing. I was like, oh my god. And so everyone like wrote down the name. So we might have a bunch of Vans store managers tuning in today.
Oh god, that's so funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, every time I tell people about it, it's always like one of two things. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'll check it out," and then they never do. Or, they check it out and then they are typically like they'll check in pretty regularly or like catch up on their things. But there more people
Yeah,
listen
once
to it.
people watch, they get stuck to it. I don't
Yeah.
understand why
More people are into it than I realize, which is kind of nice because it's like one of those things like that's become almost like secondary now, where it's just like, all right, Wednesday, time to talk about Star Wars, and it's just
Right.
nice that people are still tuning in to the conversation, I guess. But
yeah.
we got the update, guys, and as I show you this stuff, I'm going to be helping my wife get ready for work, so please forgive me if I have to like grab my son and all that other crazy stuff. But I will do my best to make sure we stay on task, stay on target, I should say.
Stay on target.
Stay on target. But yeah, so the Han Solo season started. Let me just go ahead and open up this thing about what it says about the update. That way I don't have to try to tell you what's in the update all silly wise. But yeah, new update. In this update, we revisit the iconic location of Jabba's palace. So that's in there. I haven't played it yet because I just turned on this game when I sat down, so I haven't had a chance to play it. But we're gonna see if we can get it. I think it's in. So this is what's kind of weird is that Jabba's palace isn't a galactic conquest mode. Um,
No, it's just
yeah, it's just strike or blast. Yeah. Yeah, so blast and hero versus villains, which I guess hero versus villains is okay because I was kind of like, I kind of want to see like heroes and stuff in Jabba's palace. So I was kind of bummed when they said Galactic Conquest wasn't in it, but yeah, well that's when I was like, all right, well if heroes versus villains is a game mode, then that's kind of a redeeming thing. And then They're also introducing a new permanent game mode where players will play as 2 heroes against 2 villains, where the winning team needs to change up their strategy to continue winning. We call it Hero Showdown. So that's a cool new little game mode. That actually sounds really fun. Oh. Mm. Nice. Nice. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, I think that's a cool idea of like kind of like putting it as like specific combos or specific duos, so that way it's kind of like one of those things where it doesn't take you out of the moment. Yeah. Yeah, which is wondered why they weren't doing it. This game took a. I mean, it's starting to tighten up now. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff with this game that a lot of people are still unhappy about. There's this whole thing with apparently EA is like planning to abandon this game at some point in time. But I mean, that's not. I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because if you even go and play Star Wars Battlefront, you know, they still do stuff for that game, and I thought they wouldn't even care about Battlefront anymore once Battlefront 2 came out, so. Yeah, it seems like that. I mean, as long as Star Wars is Star Wars, I guess. I mean, I probably could have thought of a more eloquent way to say that, but as long as Star Wars remains what it is, like, I just don't see any realm where people aren't gonna, like, you still have a huge portion of the population that isn't necessarily gamers who are still going to play this game and get into all the content because we love Star Wars. So it's just like, I don't know, as long as you have Star Wars on the title, you can almost guarantee that people are going to, you know, flock to it. So, but yeah, so as far as the skins go for this update, let's take a look at Lando. So Lando got this cool little general outfit as well.
He got his outfit from Jedi, right?
Yeah, so he got the skiff, I guess they're calling it, skiff outfit. So, pretending to be a skiff guard working for Jabba the Hutt, Lando waited on the sidelines as the crime lord thwarted a something. First attempt, sorry, I don't have my glasses on. First attempt to rescue Han Solo. Yeah, you guys should know that. If you don't, then you're missing out on a huge bunch of the movie. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the helmet. I mean, I've always thought this was one of his cooler outfits, I guess. I don't know, costumes. But I like the helmet, and for some reason, for me, like the graphics, the characters' animations are different after this update. I don't know what they did, but like
they also did new voiceovers.
They tightened the game up a little bit, like the way like when you like select a hero, when you're kind of going through the hero's, you know, screen, each character has like a different kind of animation than they did before, which is it's not as boring as it was, which is awesome. So yeah, and then Leia got new costumes too, which is funny because Leia seems to be, I don't know if it's just the thing with Carrie Fisher, but Leia seems to be getting more skins than any other character, because when the last one came out, she got new skins.
She has so many different looks.
Oh, that's
like,
also
pretty
true.
Much always looks the same, and Luke has like 3, but Leia has so many different appearances.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So now we have the same thing. She has the outfit from Empire when it was the "I love you, I know" moment, or not from Empire. Yeah, and then yeah, Endor, which I think this one's new too. So the Endor and the Boosh, I guess they're calling it Boosh.
Yeah, Boosh is the name of the bounty hunter that she impersonates.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, so she has both those now. And yeah, they're both pretty cool. I like the Endor one because that's always been one of my favorite outfits of hers. I just think it's, I don't know, just that movie, that scene, all that. It's really cool. But yeah, so we got new skins, which is really cool. And we got new game mode, which I'm gonna see if we can somehow make an attempt to play this.
That would be good. I'm still downloading the update.
It's alright. I'm gonna go through it. But while I figure out how to play this, we can also chat about some Star Wars news that is not related to the game. So yeah, guys, there's some updates. We're going to be trying to go through them a little bit as we play. So yeah, but the Solo movie is very, very close now, and the closer we get, the more. Yeah, it's days away. I think it's 9 days, 9 or 8 days. I can't remember now. 8 days. 8 days. Oh, I thought you said day. It's a set some day. Sorry, couldn't hear you. My baby's in my face. Yeah, there's 8 days left, which is awesome. I don't know. So right now, there's that whole thing that happens when a movie's about to drop, where the early reviews will come out. Which I have never been a fan of, really, when those happen. Just because, like, first off, I don't like being told what to think about a movie before I go and see a movie.
Yeah, I haven't read any reviews of it.
Yeah.
Just the fact that the vibe is overall positive.
Yeah, it's a positive vibe, but I mean, you know, I've read like the blurbs, but I haven't actually read like a full-on review yet, which I don't plan on doing. But everything that I've seen so far, except a couple things, but that's expected, they've been relatively good. The best thing that I've seen so far is I can't remember if I shared it on my personal Facebook or if I shared it on Talking Sith, but Alden, oh my gosh, why can't I remember the stupid kid's name? Aaron Alden, what's his stupid name? Yes, Alden Ehrenreich, or Achenreich. But he did an interview, and if you guys haven't seen this yet, Harrison Ford kind of popped in and surprised him. And that was really cool, because I was expecting Harrison Ford to be his, like, classic curmudgeon-y Harrison Ford self, where he was like, yeah, this might not be that good. But then it turned out, cool, yeah, he was really cool. And I don't know if it was just like, well, that's the thing, is like, I don't feel like Harrison Ford would ever come through just to sell a movie. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, he would, but if he was in it, like
yeah, if he was in it,
he's been in some sellouty type movies for sure. But the fact that he likes the Solo movie, because he said he watched it and liked it, is pretty cool, because he's not like the biggest Star Wars fan. So
yeah.
The fact that he enjoyed it is neat. The fact that George Lucas had some input is cool.
Yeah,
the fact that Kasdan wrote it is cool.
Yes.
There's lots of things that are encouraging about it. I think that
that's true. Yeah.
To have fun with it isn't a problem. You know what I mean? To go see a movie that's just a fun summer blockbuster type movie is fine. It doesn't have to be Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back to be fun.
Yeah.
And honestly,
exactly.
Like, with the vibe of The Last Jedi and the vibe of Rogue One being, you know, not fun and not about like buddies, I think this could do well to be that way. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm definitely stoked.
Spot the other day that was sick too. I think it was last night. I was watching the basketball game, and
go Celtics.
There's a new clip of, like, new cut of the TV spot that's pretty sick too, and. Every day I get more and more excited. I'm pretty stoked. Yeah,
the best thing that Harrison Ford said, or that I just kind of thought was like really kind of like awesome, was that he was like, oh, you know, I really like what he did with the, like, I really like the way he did it. He said that he did it really smart, like he you know, and he was happy with it, which really makes me excited, because it makes me feel like I'm like almost like I might be right about how they went about portraying Han Solo in this one, where you can't, like, even I mean, Harrison Ford knows it, like, you can't just go on screen and be Han Solo. Like, you have to give us a Han Solo we might not necessarily have seen before. And I think that might be, you know, what he meant. I mean, obviously I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know, but it was just really cool to hear him say, like, hey, you know, I liked the way he did my character. Because when Han Solo was first, when Harrison Ford was first approached about the movie, you know, he was not necessarily very excited about it. Someone asked him, like, oh, are you excited about a Han Solo movie? And he's like, no, I'm not. And that was basically it. And now it doesn't seem that way at all. He seems really, really psyched about the movie and what's going to be happening. So I'm excited because he's excited, which is awesome. Because like I said, getting Harrison Ford's approval on, you know, his character is just awesome. It's freaking amazing. But yeah, so we got Harrison Ford's kind of view on the movie, and now we're starting to slowly get everyone else's opinion on the movie, as far as, like, you know, like I said, critics and things like that. And like you said, so far, overwhelmingly, a lot of people really like it. You know, and then there's that typical stuff that comes out, like what happened when The Last Jedi came out, where everyone's like, it's Empire, and it's way better than it, and they just needed a kind of a gauge to put it against. And now people are kind of saying, like, oh, this is, you know, like this movie or like that movie or, you know, whatever. But honestly, I don't think Solo's going to be like anything we've seen, because you've made a really good point several times on Talking Sith, which is there really hasn't been a funny Star Wars. I mean, The Force Awakens, I think, was the funniest one, hands down. But, like, like on a like realistic scale, like there really hasn't ever been like a funny Star Wars. I mean, that's not really the point of them, to go and like make you like crack up in your seat. And I really think that this one not only is gonna hit that, but it's also gonna do a really good job at you know, exploring Lando and Chewie and all these kind of side characters a lot better than we've been able to in the past. So I'm really stoked, man. The more time that goes by, the closer we get to it, and the more TV spots we get, and you know, I can't wait. It's gonna be really good. I'm really excited. And like you said, I think what has me most stoked is to see those kind of like, you know, I know a lot of people are excited for, you know, possible to see the Kessel Run and all that kind of stuff, but, like, I'm super excited to see who that person Chewie was talking to in the trailer. I'm really excited to see, like, you know, what that villain and, like, I don't know, there's just, like, a bunch of stuff going on in the background of this movie that I'm like, this, you know, Han Solo and Lando are just kind of, like, the icing on the cake. There's so much good stuff, you know, in this film, it looks like, that I really just can't wait for. So yeah, guys, let us know what you think. Han Solo movie's coming out in 8 days. Are you going to see it? If you're not, why? Because you should go see it. And if you are, then awesome, and let us know what you think of the movie when you're done seeing it. To go along with the Solo movie, I just saw recently that Kathleen Kennedy confirmed that there will be a Lando film. So that's exciting. I
posted that to our Facebook as well. She said something along the lines that it's confirmed that they're in talks about it, but somebody who wrote a sensationalist headline sort of ran away with that. But
yeah,
it's a probable thing at this point, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, fine, whatever. I'm excited.
Yeah, from what I've seen,
I like Lando,
and, from what I've seen, he's gotten a lot of good notes on the movie. It was awesome seeing him in those pictures with Billy D. They both had the red outfits on. They're looking super cool. That was amazing. I was really excited to see that. But yeah, somebody asked me today, guy I work with, you know, knows I like Star Wars, and I was talking about that, it would be a Lando movie. And he was like, oh, you know, what? He's like, how could Lando possibly be interesting enough to have a full-on movie about just him, or just about, like, his story? And I'm just kind of like, in my head, I was just kind of like, man, like, I don't know. This is, like, why, like, I love Star Wars, is because, like, each character, like, you could pick any character, and I might not be able to make a movie about every single one, but you can at least do a comic book about one's backstory, a couple books about one of them's backstory. Like, every character has so much depth to them within the Star Wars universe, that I'm just kind of like, well, you could really honestly pick any character, and if you're imaginative enough and you know enough about Star Wars, you could create an entire situation just for them. And Lando is not only like a super interesting character, but he's like been a pivotal character since Star Wars was created. So I think a whole movie with just Lando, though I don't know what necessarily the plot might be because I haven't seen this one, so I don't really know where we might be going. But I'd like to see that. Like you said, I like Childish. I like Lando as a character. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from Star Wars. Like we've been talking about. Like I thought I'd get, we'd be like inundated at this point where it was just like, all right, this is too much Star Wars. But I'm not fed up yet, and honestly, I'm liking everything I see so far, which is good.
Yeah, I think the one cool thing is that even the things that are like the thing about having a lot of Star Wars is that you can have some stuff that you don't like as much, and that's okay because there's so much of it. It's like Marvel. Like, I don't love every Marvel movie, but that's fine. Like it doesn't matter. Someone else likes it, So.
Yeah, that's very true. What did you think about in Infinity War? By the way, I don't know if I have asked you about it yet.
Yeah, I liked it. We talked about it, I think. Did you see it yet?
No, I still haven't seen it. Not yet.
Yeah, I liked it.
Nice.
It was fine.
Nice.
It was better than I thought it would be. I'll put it that way.
Well, that's good. That's good. Because I was reading something today, and I didn't get too deep into it because I didn't want to have anything spoiled for me. But I was reading something today but I don't know. Stuff comes out where it was like, the Infinity War is like one of the worst ones in a long time. But then a lot of other people are like, it's the best one in forever.
Like that. I haven't heard any negative opinions, so that's interesting.
That was the first negative one I had actually heard so far. Everything else, it's been like, this is the best Marvel movie ever. So
yeah, it was good. It was fine. It was it's good. But yeah, I'm really excited for Solo too. I think that if people don't want to like it, that's okay. If people want to have fun watching it, that's okay too. None of it's really going to impact my, enjoyment of it or consumption.
I just think you have to go about it the same way I kind of went about it with Rogue One, where I was kind of like, I'm not expecting this to be like a part of the main saga Star Wars movie. Like I'm not expecting certain things. Like even when there was no crawl for Rogue One, I was kind of like, all right, well, I mean, it doesn't feel like Star Wars, but you know what? This isn't like, whatever, a typical Star Wars movie, so let me just kind of roll with the punches and see where it goes from here. And then, Rogue One wound up being a pretty different movie as far as its pacing and, the way it was shot. Basically everything. I mean, it was very much a different film than any really Star Wars we had seen. So, I feel like that's kind of to be expected with this movie too, where it's like these offshoot films are going to kind of follow their own pattern. But from what I've seen so far, like I said, Solo looks amazing, and I really can't wait for it. And as far as like, and it could be me falling into Disney's hype train. But even if that's the case, that's okay, because that's why they do all that stuff anyway.
That's why they make as much money as they do.
Exactly, because they can suck people like me into it, and it's no big deal. But yeah, so the other thing was while I was at work today, the guy asked me, we were chatting about Star Wars, and he was wondering where he was like, well, so where does Star Wars go from here, like in your eyes? And I was kind of like, well, what do you mean? He's like, oh, well, he's like, they have the Solo movie that's coming out, and then they have this. And I kind of told him the chronological, order of the new movies coming out. He's like, oh, well, I don't mean that. He's just like, I kind of mean like, he's like, it's been this huge thing for so long, and, it has all these things, toys are huge, and, it's been this big thing. He's like, do you see it like, not necessarily dying out, but he's like, do you see it becoming almost more normal than anything, where it's just kind of like, a everyday whatever, where people are kind of like, another Star Wars, no big deal. And I just thought that was interesting, because I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, I don't think so. I don't think it'll ever get to a point where people are like, oh, cool, Star Wars movie. And like that, I think every single time a Star Wars movie comes out, because his big thing was like, he was saying like, oh, I don't think it could all the movies could keep selling that well. Like, there's no way that their ticket sales
look
could.
At Marvel. Every Marvel movie that comes out outsells every other Marvel movie before it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And plus
exactly.
tickets go up. So you sell
Exactly.
10 tickets at $20 a pop. It's the same thing as selling 20 tickets at $10 a pop. It's not the quantity of tickets, it's the amount of dollars. So I think
Exactly.
that as the years go on, Star Wars will just make more and more and more money, and
Yeah.
no stopping that. But I do see the popularity maybe fluctuating. But it depends too, because that's just the movies. How much of it is going to be like, a streaming show or
Yeah, exactly.
miniseries or
Yep.
a long time serial show or something like that. So there's so many other
Yeah.
versions that we could get that
Yeah.
we've never had in the past.
Speaking
So
of
I think
mini
that
show,
that's a big difference.
yeah, definitely, I agree. And I, honestly, like I said, I think that I think that the average person or casual fan only really knows the movies, whereas like somebody people like me and you who like grew up more on like we had the movies obviously, but we also had the books and the games and the comic books and
comics, games.
yeah, exactly, everything else where it's like we know that Star Wars extends past the universe people see on the screen, and I don't know if more people just don't know it or they just don't pursue it, but yeah, that's what I said to him too. I was like, Star Wars is more than the movie, so the popularity of the movies may one day somehow like slow down. I don't see it happening, but it could, because I use the same example as like with Marvel. I'm like, Marvel has been like since the Iron Man movie. It's been almost every year, it feels like, that we get a Marvel movie, and every year they do perfectly fine. Even the ones that aren't that great do perfectly fine. So, I'm not really too worried about it. But you did mention, though, the TV series, and I did find out, because I know last week we were trying to figure out a little bit more about it, like when it would be set, and Jon Favreau did say recently that it'll be set after The Force Awakens, I think he said.
Yeah.
And between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, it'll be somewhere in between then. So that's a really interesting place to put it, only because I feel like that leaves a ton of space to be able to explain some things that we might not have gotten an explanation to. It gives us time to like see. Now this is the thing. With this whole series, I don't know, because he's like setting it between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, I don't know if we're going to have characters in it that we know. Like, I don't see Rey ever making an appearance on television.
Cameo, like Saw Gerrera type cameo. But
Yeah.
I don't think that, it's non-Skywalker related.
Exactly.
So
I don't see it. Yeah,
I don't know.
and I don't know if there's
It
been
really
confirmed
depends.
that we have any Jedis or anything in it. I don't.
Right, that's what I was going to say. It's obviously not Force related. It'll probably be similar to Rogue One in terms of the type of people that it's got.
Yeah, that's true. And I was thinking that what it could do a good job at is explaining some of that backstory with Snoke that a lot of people are upset that they didn't get.
I don't think that's going to happen. I
Well,
think if
I
anything,
mean-
it'll talk about like the Republic and the different planets and the core and
Right.
Canto Bight. Like I think Snoke is intentionally the way he is. I don't think that anything is gonna explain
Right.
any more than we've already got, other than maybe books down the road or something. But I think intentionally his story is.
Yeah, left vague. Yeah, that's probably true. One can hope. I'm hoping that somehow they'll be like, oh, and by the way, Snoke. I don't know if it'll be like an indirect thing where we indirectly learn about him because we're learning about people who are like subjugated by him, type of thing, where it's like we'll learn more about his character through other people's suffering, which would be interesting. I mean, I could see something like that, but other than that, like, I don't see like, well, like the thing with Snoke is like he's CGI, and so I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be insanely difficult to put him into a show, but then again, like you said, I don't really see it. I don't really see them trying to do that, so I don't know. But other than him, like you said, I could see them exploring just like the rebels in general, or maybe following along with some troopers. Who knows? There's a lot of story to get into. My biggest thing is I'm wondering if they're gonna tie in all of this because the books have been doing this really crazy job of like tying together this whole outside universe that's not connected to the movies. But like they are connected to the movies, but like they're not. It's like really strange where it's like they use points of the movies to like kind of give you a point of reference in time, as kind of, you know, when you're reading, like, so you know, like, all right, this happened this long after the Battle of Yavin, or you know, this happened this long after, you know, Luke got whatever. So it's kind of like they use them for that, but, you know, there's all these like things happening, you know, like this compass that Luke finds, and you know, a bunch of stuff that has to do with the Outer Rim and Snoke and blah blah blah. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on that's not explained in the movies, so I'm thinking, hey, maybe this is a chance in this series for that to be explained, but more than likely I'm wrong, because I just tend to be wrong about these things lately. So most of my I guarantee that if you go back, most of the predictions that I have made on Talking Sith have turned out to be absolutely false, which is perfectly fine. But usually they're 100% wrong, so that's okay. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. But it is interesting because it's one medium we've never really seen Star Wars before. Like, we have had Star Wars shows that have been in a series, but they haven't been with live action actors. So
they're also not for adults.
They're also not for adults. So that'll be also interesting to see, where will we get like adult themes at all? Like, you know, will there be, not necessarily swearing, because I don't even know if they know swear words in space, but they definitely you know, they know space swears.
In the books they space swear all the time. I'm trying to think of a good example, but they say stuff that's like a
considered a swear.
The F-bomb, but it's just like Liznark. Something like that.
That'd be amazing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they bring more adult themes to it. You know, like, I don't know. That I would be interested to see that. But it is Star Wars, and I think I have a very good feeling it's going to be streaming on that Disney thing.
Oh yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah.
But like I said, they just picked up the UFC, so I don't know like what kind of content they're planning on having, because I hear Disney and I automatically think like most of the content is going to be pretty clean. But then like UFC is literally like blood sport, so I don't know.
Well, no, Disney's owned a lot of stuff over the years, and not all kids related.
That's true. That's, yeah, but I always think like, even
Marvel's
like,
not.
yeah, but even so, like, how bad do Marvel movies really get? You know what I mean? Like, they never really get.
Want it to get.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
it doesn't have to be bad unless it's, you know, gratuitously that way.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We talked about it a couple months ago when we found out the Game of Thrones writers were going to write a Star Wars mini or series for TV.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need Star Wars to be Game of Thrones. Like, a lot of people who were commenting on it were like, yeah, blood and guts.
Yeah.
Part of what makes Star Wars is that it's not necessary to have gore or.
No, I'm just wondering if you're going to be. Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to have a bunch of like incestual moments and whatnot, you know, to keep it interesting.
I mean, just a few, but not.
Just
like,
a couple, yeah. Just a couple weird place kisses, yeah. That's true. And like you said, we don't need like. Star Wars and Game of Thrones are very different things, and like you said, there's no need to have violence just for the sake of violence. But at the same time, I wonder how, like, because like you said, it's set in the between The Force Awakens and Last Jedi, so the only people who own lightsabers are probably never going to show up on screen. So I'm just wondering, like, how interesting a Star Wars show could be if we never see a lightsaber duel. Not that that's like quintessential for Star Wars to be exciting. I just mean, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like if I see it Star Wars at some point in time, I want to see somebody ignite a lightsaber. You know, I don't know, but that might just be me.
Yeah, I mean, you might see like I don't know. I can't think of a good example if that's the timeline, but you might see something.
Well, that's what I mean. Because of where he said it, it's not like there's any random, like if it was any other time, I could see, like, oh, there's this secret Jedi who's been, like, hiding out in the corner of the galaxy.
Yeah.
but like because of the time frame of where he said it, I just can't see that happening because of this, because of how big of a deal it's been. You know, the Jedi being, wiped out and then trying to be rebuilt. And well, you know what? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because in between then we supposedly have Luke training people.
Who are the Knights of Ren?
That's true.
Like, there were people Luke was training that might have escaped.
That's true.
Also,
that's what I just remembered.
The one I don't know anything about this, and it might just be because I haven't read all the newer books. I don't know who Lor San Tekka is. He might have something to do.
I have no idea who that is.
He's the guy. Sure. He's the old dude from the beginning of Force Awakens who gives Poe the map. But
yeah, I have no clue who he is or where he came from, or yeah, I don't know. I haven't read anything about him, and the only new one I haven't read was the one just titled Leia. I haven't read that one, but other than that, I've pretty much caught up on all the new books, and I don't ever remember his name coming up. So you're right, that's a whole, but like we were saying, like Star Wars it's a huge universe. So, yes, it could be set during the time of, The Force Awakens, between, that and The Last Jedi, but that doesn't mean it takes place anywhere near what's happening with them, and it might not have anything to do with what's going on with the First Order and the Resistance, because the galaxy is absolutely massive. Like, he could take us somewhere that's like where they're just kind of like, oh, we know there's this war going on, but we don't really care about it because we're so far away, and yeah, so it's just kind of like it's interesting because with Star Wars, it's so hard to speculate what kind of content people might be working on, because you could be doing anything. You could be pulling off all these things we already know, like the Han Solo movie, and then like adding some stuff in that's kind of like new, kind of like with the Rogue One movie, where it was like we know where the story's going to end, but we don't know how it happens. Right. So there's all these options to like either kind of build off the past or create something new. And so it's just really hard to say like, oh, it's going to be like this, because it could literally be anything, which is pretty exciting, but at the same time it makes it kind of difficult to guess what's going to go on. So, but yeah, I'm excited just for in general, just to see what kind of story gets developed and how it fits in to the canon of Star Wars, and if they try to like not necessarily rewrite anything, but if they try to like reconfigure or fix some holes, or I don't know. I feel like there were points in the Clone Wars that did this. Like specifically, there was that one episode where they kind of went not roundabout, but they kind of explained Order 66 in a very specific way, where they were like, hey, Palpatine put these chips inside these troopers' heads, so that's why when they're asked to turn on the Jedi, it's almost like an instantaneous thing where they have no issue doing it because they had these chips in their head. Whereas if you go back and you read the older books, it was just because their sheer loyalty to Palpatine. That's really all it boiled down to. But in in the Clone Wars, they kind of like try to find a way to like almost get around it and fix it, where they're like, oh, they didn't randomly just turn and kill Jedis. They had no choice because they had these chips implanted into their brains, which is why you have like clones like Rex and Fives and all those guys who didn't do it, because they were able to figure it out and remove the chips from their brain. So it's like stuff like that where it's like, who knows if they'll be trying to like explain stuff that's already happened, but like I said, who knows? It's all up in the air. But that's the wonderful thing about Star Wars, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, guys, we have, like I said, we have this new update. I've tried this entire game. I've been playing Heroes vs. Villains to try to get Jabba's Palace, and I have not gotten it yet. So
I just got it on my first one.
Of course you did. So Adam got Jabba's Palace.
I am not playing Heroes Villains. I'm playing the new Hero Showdown, and I was misinformed about it being preset duos. It's basically Heroes versus Villains, but it's just 2v2.
Oh, so you do pick
your hero.
Okay.
Your teammate picks his hero, and you're good to go.
All right, cool. But yeah, so hopefully I can get some type of something of being on Jabba's Palace, and then I can get some clips of it and put it up on our channel so you guys can see a little bit, you know, what's going on. And if you're not, then you are always free to turn on the game and play it yourself. I believe the price of it is actually dropped, so it's no longer $60. I don't know how much it is, but I'm pretty sure it's not $60 anymore, because it's been out for a while, and you know, the game has had its problems and things like that, so they dropped the price at one point in time. Free. And the DLC is totally free, so there's really no point. If you're a fan and you have any interest in the game, there's really no excuse not to get it. I will say there are a lot of good games out right now, so I can completely understand if it's not that you don't want to play this, you just have other games on your roster right now. I understand. There's so many good things out right now, and so many more good things coming out. I just watched the trailer for, the gameplay footage for Rage 2 today. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I don't know if you ever played Rage, but if you did...
I did. I'm not a huge fan.
Not a fan? Oh, man, I loved that game. I really liked it. But yeah, Rage 2 is coming out. That's exciting. Not only that, but like there's really... I'm not going to get into it because we could talk all night about it, but there's some really awesome games coming out. E3 had a leak. There was a Walmart in Canada or something, I think it was Canada. They accidentally put up your like holiday or like after E3, not holiday, but like after E3 like list of games or whatever, and a lot of stuff got leaked. So if you guys are into video games at all, which I assume you are, you should check that out, because a lot of cool games are coming out, and some of them I didn't expect on that list. Other ones I was like, well, yeah, obviously, you know, like a new Call of Duty, that's a given almost all the time, you know, stuff like that. But then there were games on there where I was like, oh, hello. Rage 2 was one of them. Rage 2 was on that list, and I didn't expect that game, so that's really cool. But yeah, guys, there's a lot of cool stuff to play. So if you're a gamer, you should be.
It's the same map as it was in 2015.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It's just like Bespin, though.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's kind of lazy to reuse these maps, or do you like playing them again?
I don't care.
Yeah.
The maps are cool, so I'm not like.
Yeah. Plus, at the same time, how much can you really change a map that's not gonna change? You know what I mean? Like, Jabba's Palace isn't. Yeah, Jabba's Palace isn't really gonna like.
If they put Death Star in again and it was the same exact map and game type, I'd be stoked.
Yeah, that, and like you said, like, you know, it's not like all of a sudden the Emperor is gonna be like, I want to redo the whole Death Star just for this specific game. Like, it's gonna be the same Death Star all the time. So whether, you know, so like how much can you really change the maps to begin with? That's why when I saw Hoth, I was actually surprised that they had changed it so much, because I thought to myself, like, oh, how much can you change Hoth? Like, it's Hoth, like it's gonna always look the same. But that map looks way different than the one from 2015, so that was kind of nice. But Jabba's Palace is Jabba's Palace. It's always gonna be awesome. You know, it's just a great like you were saying last week, it's just a great level as far as like shooting games go. It's just an awesome level to play on.
Yeah, it's just fun. It reminds me of old school like GoldenEye.
Oh man.
But this isn't a shooting game type, so I don't know how it'd be like 10v10. But
yeah,
it's just a cool map. It's got a lot of callbacks to the movie and everything.
Yeah, that's true, and I feel like just because Empire was such an iconic movie, not that all of them weren't. It's just like Empire is like the definitive. Like if you talk to any Star Wars fans that's not an idiot, most say Empire is their favorite. Like Empire is like kind of like the agreed upon best. Like so it's like even that.
It's objectively probably the best of them. It's not.
It's definitely
my favorite.
It's yeah, I agree.
Wasn't my favorite movie, but like critically speaking, it's probably the best.
It's definitely the best, yeah. And I think it's my favorite, just the tone of it. I don't know, there's just something about it, just the way from beginning to end, like George, you know, the Lucasfilms just really did a great job of setting the tone and then sticking with it throughout the entire movie. And at no point in time do you feel like your heroes are safe. Like at any point in time, because of the way the movie goes, it's like, oh man, like this isn't going well for them. Like anything could happen, and it was pretty awesome to see. Not to mention like some of the best lines, some of the best moments.
Yeah, I rewatched it recently, and it's got just such a good script. Like the dialogue is so good. Yoda's like everything Yoda says is awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially watching it again after all these years, and then like like I feel like there's something to be taken away from the fact that like Star Wars has been around for so long, and you can go back and kind of see where it started. And so you watch like The Last Jedi and see Yoda, but then going all the way back to Empire and seeing him again, it's like it changes over time, where it's like all the things he says mean so much more all of a sudden, and like all the things he does, like the way he trains Luke, and it just means like it just feels so much different, but just still is powerful, which is really cool. Like I think that's the awesome thing about Star Wars, where it's almost like when you like can go back to like your old iPods and stuff, and you can like hear music you listen to when like you were like first discovering music type of thing, and like you're like, oh, this song, like that's the song that clued me into this band, and then that band got me onto this thing, and it kind of brings you back to the beginning of like where you were, and each song kind of has like a tie to this like memory. And like Star Wars is very much like that, where it's like the song itself never really changes, but because you add more music to it, it almost sounds different, and Star Wars is very similar in that way. But I'm a big music nut, so. But yeah, guys, let us know what you're excited about. I'm excited about Han Solo. I mean, obviously you guys are probably thinking to yourselves like, we can't wait for that too. Thank you for anyone who stopped by. I was not able to keep an eye on my phone as I like to, but I did see a couple people popping in and out, so we appreciate that. Thank you, Kevin Paulino, specifically for the shout out earlier on Facebook. I appreciate that, and I hope you got a chance to check us out. And if not, hopefully you get to watch a recording of this, because I know you said you had to work or something like that, so maybe you'll get to watch a recording. But yeah, man, thank you, and I really appreciate the love. Also, shout out to Tom, because he's awesome, for one. Tom Frost, by the way. He's awesome, for two. He has some really cool stuff that he would like to give away on our channel, which I thought was really awesome, because Tom is not a part of our show whatsoever, and is really just a good friend of mine, but he really likes Star Wars and said, hey, I got these really cool things that I picked up that I think you should give away on your show. So yeah, thanks, Tom, really appreciate that, and I'll grab those things from you soon so we can give them away. I can't wait. But yeah, so just thanks to everybody out there, we really appreciate it. And next week I should be here. My dad is like randomly coming to town. He like surprised all of us, so he'll be here for the week next week, and I don't quite know what the Wednesday. So if he is still here on Wednesday, I may be with him doing stuff. But if not, then it's a tentative thing. But if my dad's not around, it should be cool. But he's coming from California, so I don't really see him much. So yeah, it'll be cool. He's coming to meet the baby. So yeah, I'll be doing that. If not, if I'm not here, then Adam, my wonderful co-host, should be here. We are awesome. We're together every Wednesday. Thanks for joining us again. Like I said, I am your host, Chaz, joined by my co-host, Adam. Thanks again, pal, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Birdie.
And we will be back next week. Yeah, so like I said, guys, let us know in the comments what you want to see from the Solo movie, and let us know if you're excited about it. I know we are. And we will, we'll see you next week. See you later.